take advantage of your circle and the people around you that are already doing it, and don't be afraid to ask for help and for practice sessions. I think a lot of us now, that's how we practice, is playing with one another, having sessions at someone's house.
Welcome back to Behind the Decks, episode 5. We got a full house for MPLS house here. We got an audience. We got Angel Man in the Decks, and we got Tina here. Thank you for joining us and on this experiment for podcasting.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you've been on a lot of podcasts before or have had the experience.
This will be the second.
How'd the first one go?
It went well.
Yeah.
It was a podcast reviewing albums. Somebody invited me to be on it.
Okay.
I forget what album we were talking about though. Oh, the ABBA album, like the recent one.
Yeah.
And I gave it a flop. It was bop or flop, and I said flop.
Why didn't you like it?
It was obscure. Yeah, that's really all I can say about it.
You remember the first album you ever bought?
Ooh, I don't think so.
Yeah.
I cannot remember. Probably something like really poppy 90s, because I'm a 90s baby.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so you born and raised here?
I'm originally from Dallas, Texas.
Okay.
And then I moved to Minnesota when I was, about 10 years old.
And what was your first experience in Minneapolis like?
Honestly, crazy, because I had not seen snow before. And when we first moved here, we were literally in t-shirts and tank tops, and it was snowing everywhere. So I was like, yeah, I want to go back home immediately. But I haven't left, so I do really love it here.
And what was it like growing up here? What are some fond memories, like making friends, or was that harder? Or
I went to high school in Stillwater. I think me and my brothers were all very social people.
Yeah.
Very active in sports and the arts when we were in high school and middle school. So I would say making friends wasn't too much of a challenge, but I liked growing up in Stillwater, at least just for like the scenery and like kind of how quaint of a town it is.
What sports were you into?
I played tennis. I was on the dance team.
Okay.
I played rugby in college. I think that's it. And I played basketball for like a week.
Okay.
And then I quit.
So you tried your hand at a couple different leagues.
I tried. Yeah. I think tennis was probably my favorite and something I still practice now.
So were you into the music scene, dance scene early on? Do you remember that? Or
yeah, I was in choir ever since like elementary school, if that still counts. But like from elementary up until end of high school, I was pretty involved in choir and our like women's choir at my high school.
So you had experience performing?
Yeah, but with like almost 40 other people, 50 other people, which makes it a little less daunting, I think.
Did you ever do any solo shows?
No solo shows, but I did have a solo for one of our performances. I forget which one, but I guess that was a good precursor to being in the spotlight per se.
So other than the 90s influence of pop music, when did you start like varying out like out of that genre and hearing like other stuff? Do you remember, is there like an early memory of something and you're like, oh, what's that sound?
Honestly, my parents had like the most random taste in music. My dad listened to a lot of like almost like Dobie Gray he would listen to. So a lot of more like soulful R&B, also what I would call maybe like dad rock type music. My mom, they're both Nigerian, but my mom listened to pretty much solely Nigerian music. So a lot of those influences growing up. So from that, I've always had a very eclectic taste in music, like kind of random.
Did that color your like interest in like, did you move towards electronic at some point, or how did that happen?
I think earlier in like middle school or is probably when I first started listening to more electronic music. I think the first show I went to was Disclosure at Roy Wilkins back in the day.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I went by myself. Like no one else I was friends with at that time really wanted to go or was like that interested in the music. So even going to that show and like seeing them live kind of motivated me to keep like pursuing it and actually start DJing.
That's a great intro to like electronic music. But they put on a great show, and the fact that you went there on your own says a lot about like there was something pulling you
Yeah.
there.
Something was calling me, yeah.
What was that show like? Do you remember like the experience of being there?
I do remember, like, that album for me is probably still one of my favorites, so,
Yeah.
like, they had kind of not necessarily live, but, like, the electronic instruments and, like,
Mm-hmm.
just seeing what I had been listening to for so long just played out live was a really
Mm.
cool experience. Um, and I looked later to see, like, who was opening, and, like, Claude Von Stroke was one of the
Oh
openers,
wow.
which I was like, "That's insane." Like, they're both on, like, their own crazy trajectory now,
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
kind of cool that I got to witness that early on.
That's wild that Claude Von Stroke was opening for
Yeah,
Disclosure. And so did you were you in the scene at all? Did you know DJs or were you going out at all or besides that show?
back then,
Yeah.
no. No, I didn't start playing in Minneapolis until after college,
Okay.
and after I, like, moved back here is
Okay.
when I first started, like, actually DJing in Minneapolis.
And what was that first pull like getting like because obviously it's a little bit of an effort now because you got to get the gear, you got to figure out like all the systems and
Mm,
so
I guess to rewind, I got my first, like, controller when I was in high school, like, maybe senior year of high school, and
okay.
then DJ'd a little bit in college, but specifically for Minneapolis, like, I know my friends had known that I had been DJing, or I
Okay.
would go over to my friend's house and, like, play for them, if we're pre-gaming or something, and one of my friends sent me a Dance Agenda
Uh,
post saying that they wanted people to, like, create a mix, and I'd
okay.
never made a mix before. So I was scared, but I was like, "Okay, I'm gonna do it," and
Yeah.
probably, like, the 40th re-recording of that mix, I finally sent it, and then, yeah, Leo hit me back and was like, "Yeah, we want you to do it," and then that party got canceled, so
Yeah, big break and it wasn't meant to be. So, but you had been going to some of the parties that the promoters were throwing around here around that
Mhm.
time? Yeah.
Yeah, I would say very active in the scene as a spectator, as an
Mhm.
attendee. We went to a lot of Dance Agenda shows,
Mhm.
pretty much anything sim shows, anything, like, house
Yeah.
related, and then a lot of indie music, R&B as well,
Yeah.
so
So if anyone was to ask you like how to describe the scene in those early days or the types of music that you were listening to, how would you describe it?
it was all over the place. Yeah, I'm like, we went to see what, like, SG Lewis, I've seen I'm gonna have to go through my notes because
Yeah.
I have,
Your
like, a
mental
list of
notes.
all of my
Yeah.
shows that I've been to, but I think I've liked that it was just, like, a good variety of music.
Yeah.
I think that's one thing I've always appreciated about Minneapolis is how many different genres are represented here.
Yeah. And did you find yourself being pulled towards a specific one?
I mean, I love house music, so yeah. Yeah. House, funky, groovy, disco, like, is pretty much my vibe, so,
Yeah.
yeah, anything along those lines.
And so when you think about like curating music or like where you go looking for music or where you're drawing your inspiration from, like where would you say that comes from?
Real life, like,
Mm,
being out, I always have my Shazam on,
mm,
so if I hear a song while I'm out, like, I can Shazam it.
yeah,
A lot of times I'll just watch sets when I'm getting ready, and if a song catches my attention, I'll, like, make note to
yeah,
record it, and then attending other people's shows, going to festivals, I always get good music,
mm,
and then I guess if I'm, like, digging for music, then I just, like, hunker down for a few hours and start kinda digging, through some of the record labels that I like or certain artists that I am kinda drawn to.
do you feel like your curation like skill has gotten better the more you listen to music? Because I remember like in early days, you'd have to go to the record store and like get all the records out and listen to them, cue them up, and just
Mhm.
spend before you spend $8 on a record, you have to
Yeah.
figure out if it's like good or not. So
I've feel like now, especially if I'm getting vinyl, I have an idea of what I like, and even if I haven't heard it, then I'll just buy it,
yeah,
and if there's a cool cover, I'll just buy it and
yeah,
listen to it, and sometimes you get something random that's good, so
yeah,
but I guess otherwise, it's nice to just, like, find new music. Maybe I'm more, critical of music now,
mm,
so I almost feel like it's harder to find good music, and there's a lot out there,
yeah.
so
Yeah, I mean, it seems like there's no shortage of music and music being produced, but I think maybe what you might be speaking to is the fact that if you listen to enough of it, a lot of it starts to sound like the same, and like
mhm.
they are like a lot of them using the same loops, or just like it's a repeat or it's a variation of an old track. And so when you hear something that's like a new sound or a new beat or a new rhythm, it really like stands out. And I'm wondering if like you find yourself being more picky with the music because of that.
Yeah, definitely. I do if there's a song that I really like already and I find a song that's still similar, like, I still like it.
Yeah.
But I think just trying to be a bit more unique and find music that other people haven't heard or that, like, also isn't crazy overplayed
Yeah.
has become more of a challenge.
Mm. And so, what was the experience in early days after after the dance agenda cancellation? Obviously, things have picked up since then, and you've
Yeah.
had some. So, what was that experience like playing in those parties in the early days?
I mean, I always have a good time, but
Yeah,
it just is good getting the practice, right? Because like so that first party I was supposed to play got canceled,
yeah.
and then Dance Agenda booked me for, like, another smaller event. I did not export my music correctly,
Oh,
so, like, another learning curve, you
got
know?
it.
Like, I think even then when I first started, I just wanted to play as much as possible and,
Yeah,
like, get the practice so that I wasn't nervous about not exporting my music correctly, or I wasn't nervous about not turning off the filter after it's been on for 30 seconds, like, little things that
yeah, yeah.
yeah, everyone knows,
Learn the
but
hard way.
yeah. But, yeah, I think I just kind of said yes to a lot, which was good because it gave me a good kind of, like, framework and good practice.
Is there a show that where you really felt like you were in the groove? It's like you felt like settled, and is there one that comes to mind?
Now you're putting me on the spot, I'm like
Well, you also had a noticeable a nice opening for Chris Lake too, so I'm wondering if you could
yeah,
talk about that experience.
yeah. I mean, that was amazing.
Yeah,
That was a really good time and experience. Can't really say anything else other than that.
yeah. And so, like, when you're are you starting to make more of an effort to, like, play more and you're getting I mean, obviously, there's, like you have a lot more visibility as your, like,
Yeah.
reputation is growing, so what's that
I'm actually trying to play less.
why is that?
I think I wanna play less because I've done a lot already, and right now, my focus is more on, like, production and
Okay.
kind of developing something that's more unique to me.
Mm,
I mean, I'm still doing events and playing a decent amount,
yeah,
but just being more intentional about, the shows that I'm doing and
yeah.
not saying yes to everything because 'cause I'm not really practicing anymore. I'm
Mm.
more, like, solidifying the craft.
When did you start getting interested in production?
I've always wanted to. It's funny when I first started DJing, I started producing a little bit, and then I was like, "Oh, this is gonna take a lot of brain power." So I was like, "I'll learn to DJ first and then eventually start producing."
Yeah.
But I kinda just fell in love with playing music, so
Mhm.
I never took the time
To
to
yeah,
produce.
to produce.
Yeah, yeah.
So, but now you're gonna slow down the
Mhm.
picking and start to focus more on production?
Yeah.
Do you have a specific, like, influence or type of style you're doing? It seems like you've had a lot of influences in your life and, like, with your parents and music and stuff like that. Is all that coming together and in terms of, like, what you like as well?
It feels like it. I'm really drawn to, like, almost like a more bouncy, still housey, but, like, higher BPM.
Mm.
So, like, even Salute, X Club, like, those are good influences. Tisha,
Mhm.
that's kind of the vibe I'm looking for.
Have you released anything yet?
No, 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 no. You will know when
Yeah.
I
Is it still again, because a lot of times when you're producing, there's a lot of tracks that you just, like, end up never finishing because it's like, "Ah,
Yeah,
it's not quite
yeah.
ready yet," so
I'm still in that phase where
yeah,
it's, like, projects unfinished, but I think it's good to get the practice, at
yeah,
least now for me, like, and just kinda figure out what I want my sound to be.
yeah. So you've had a chance to play with a lot of different parties and a lot of different promoters. You're playing with Freak of the Week, I think. You're playing with Noah
Mhm.
Rave. So like, do you find like when you're in certain groups with a certain group of DJs and you've got in a rotation that evening, do certain parties bring out like different parts of you and your style?
Yes. Okay, that's actually the perfect example because, like, even Nola's very what's like, eclectic in style and how
Sure.
she DJs as well. So I just remember when I first, like, played that event, I was just like, "Oh, what do you want the vibe to be?" She was like, "Play whatever you want." I was like, "Okay," because I kinda wanna play disco, and she's like, "Yeah, run it." Like,
Yeah.
And so I did, and I you also asked what show I felt like I was in, like, a really good flow, and I would
Yeah.
say that
Okay.
was definitely one of them because, 1, people couldn't really see me, so then I wasn't nervous about, like, being on stage, but I just kinda, what's the word I'm thinking of?
Overthinking it or
No, I didn't overthink it.
yeah,
That's why it was just, like, such
yeah.
a good set for
You're in the
me.
flow?
I was locked in,
Yeah.
as the people say.
Yeah. And so talk a little bit about the scene here. Like what's it been like and to develop those relationships with other DJs and promoters and kind of have that community?
I feel like it comes kinda natural to me, honestly.
Oh yeah.
I'm already a pretty social person, and I have always enjoyed going to shows and
Yeah.
meeting new people and making friends, so, like, I think that part, the networking and, like,
Mm.
meeting people, if there's an event that I wanna play, I'll just go to the event and, like, say hi
Yeah.
to people. That part has always kinda come natural to me, which is a positive thing.
Yeah.
Good, but it's been good.
And I think I heard you were chatting and you were mentioning that you were in a coffee shop or somewhere and you asked if they like they had an event going
Oh,
on.
yeah. Rise, we just had our first, like, Rise and Vibe,
Okay.
kind
Oh,
of
that's right.
morning house session,
Yeah. Yeah, I saw that.
and how that came to be is me just being in the coffee shop. I
Yeah. Is it
just
Rise Bagel Shop?
Yeah, in
Yeah,
Northwood.
I love that place. Yeah.
But yeah, I was there grabbing a bagel, and I was like, "I kinda wanna DJ in here."
It's a good
Uh,
space. Yeah.
it is a really nice space.
Yeah.
Lots of sun, plants, and they, like, rearranged everything for the event so people could, like,
Mm.
dance and vibe if they wanted to. Yeah, just reached out to them after that,
Yeah.
and they were like, "Yeah, we've actually been thinking about doing this. This is good timing." So,
Yeah,
manifested it.
as a New Yorker, I've tried a couple of bagels in town, and that one's, like, definitely the best, so
What's your bagel order?
everything bagel
Mm, it's a
with,
good one.
cream cheese and sometimes lox. Yeah.
Smoked
Smoked
salmon
salmon,
bagel.
yeah. And so, we like to, like, wrap up the interview piece with, like, a question about anyone that's watching or thinking about, like, breaking into the scene or, like, what they should be getting into. And obviously, everyone's come through this space from like so many different origins. But I'm curious if like someone was to come to you and say, like, oh, I'm 18, I'm thinking of DJing, I want to start
Mhm.
playing, and like, thinking back to when you got started, and obviously you had a different impetus back then. But what are some thoughts about like what you suggest?
I would say, like, take advantage of your circle and the people around you that are already doing it, and don't be afraid to ask for help and for practice sessions. I think a lot of us now, that's how we practice is
Yeah.
playing with one another, having sessions at someone's house before a show,
Hmm.
just to, like, get some practice and, like, bounce ideas off of one another.
Yeah.
And I think also because Minneapolis is such a small, like, pretty tight-knit community, like, attend events and, like,
Mm, yeah.
get your face out there and say hi to people, is probably, yeah, best advice.
That is good. It's a good point because in a city that's this small, you tend to see the same folks and or even the same dancers on the dance floor, like
Yeah.
popping around from party to party. So I think there's something to be said for the DJs know who's showing up and everyone sort of
Yeah.
meets on the dance floor.
100.
Yeah. So we're gonna take a pause here and then we're gonna go into our back-to-back session.
Hey.
But thank you so much for joining us and
Thank you.
thanks for sharing a little bit about your backstory.